Hey everyone, it's Cody with 5 to 9 Suite. Today we're going to be talking about installing the VS Code IDE. Why VS Code? Well, one, it's free, it's open source, which is really cool, which means there's a whole developer community out there of people who are contributing to VS Code. It is currently managed or maintained, I should say, by Microsoft, but like I said, it's open source, which means it's open for contributions from the broader developer community. Aside from that, in the 2025 Developer Stack Overflow Survey, which is a highly regarded survey across the software engineering industry, it showed that 75% of professional developers are using VS Code, which is pretty crazy because that's more than double its nearest competitor. And then aside from that, it's just what I'm comfortable with. It's what I've been using for a while now. So that is what I'm going to be making my content with. However, with that being said, you are totally welcome to install any other IDE that suits your needs. I just caution you that there might not be as good of support for that IDE, specifically around extensions. VS Code has a great marketplace of extensions that are developed by other people that are just really handy for you. And for example, a lot of the big AI players such as OpenAI and Anthropic, they make extensions available through VS Code. So I highly recommend it, but explore your other options and make that decision for yourself. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. And we're going to go ahead and open up a browser, and we're going to go to google.com, and we will do a search for VS Code. You can download VS Code by clicking on this button here. And you can see there's support for a couple of different operating systems, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. I'm working on a Windows 11 machine, so I'm going to go ahead and click this button here. But you can click any of the buttons that are relevant for you. And the download process is going to be essentially the same thing. So you should be able to follow along pretty much the same way. All right, the executable is done downloading. So we're going to go ahead and bring up the actual installer. Hopefully Microsoft isn't sneaking anything crazy in here. I'm just going to go ahead and click I accept the agreement and click next. This is the default install location. This is a user profile level install, so it's downloading directly into my user profile on this computer. The default location is okay for me, so I'm just going to click next. This is just letting me know that there's going to be an icon available in the start menu folder. I'm okay with that. If you don't want it, you can check the box down here and click next. These are a couple options. So if you want to create a desktop icon for VS Code, you can check this box here. There's a couple other options here. For example, if you want to add the Open with Code action to your Windows Explorer file context menu, you can click this box here. What this is going to do is in your File Explorer, where you navigate your file system here, if you wanted to right click in here, this opens up a context menu, and this would give you an option in here to open VS Code in this particular folder. Of course, we don't see it because we don't have VS Code installed right now, but I'm going to leave that checked. It's a really handy feature. The other two here, I recommend you leave checked as well. Register code as an editor for supported file types. So when you go to open like a text file or even a source code file, it will show VS Code as an option to open that file with. And then adding it to the path, this will make it so that, for example, if you're working from a terminal like PowerShell, you can open code directly using the code executable on the command line interface. If that's all gibberish to you, don't worry about it. You can just leave these checked. I promise it's not going to harm anything. So go ahead and click next, and then you can click install. So this is going to actually get the install going. And while this is going, I'll just mention kind of here in the background, the Visual Studio Code website is great. There's a lot of really good documentation on here. There's also a lot of really good tutorials that show you how to use different aspects of VS Code if you want to become a little bit more of a power user with it. I strongly recommend checking out some of the content that they make available. This just goes back to the developer community for VS Code is fantastic. I think it's pretty much unrivaled across all of the IDEs. So definitely check that out. It looks like the install is just about finished up here, which will allow us to actually open up VS Code. So there we go. We can launch Visual Studio Code. We'll go ahead and click Finish. And what this is going to do is bring up kind of the default page for your first time look at VS Code. So it's kind of trying to sell you on a couple of different things here. You can use AI features with Microsoft's Copilot, which is their agentic AI solution. You're more than welcome to use that if you want. There's other options out there. I'm going to be using Cloud Code, so I will not be checking this box. With that being said, any of the videos that I make are intended to work across any of the agentic AI solutions. So use whatever works for you. But I'm going to be using Cloud Code. I also want to click on choose your theme here. So this is going to let you kind of stylize your VS Code experience a little bit. You can go with a dark mode, a light mode, and then you have high contrast options for both of those. I personally like the default dark modern, so I'm going to go with that. If you want to look at some different video tutorials, you can also do that here as well. So I'm going to mark that done. And then just like that, we are at the kind of home page for VS Code. So you can see there's some options here to create new files, open existing files, open existing folders, cloning a Git repository, which we'll talk about in a future video. But with that being said, you are pretty much ready to go with VS Code. Just to be a little bit more complete here, I'll show a couple of different options to open VS Code. Of course, because we clicked the option to add it to the context menu, you can go to your file explorer in any directory, and you now have this open with code option, which will open this particular directory in VS Code. You can see here is my project over here on the left-hand side in the file explorer. Everything's there and ready to go. Another option, of course, is from the terminal. So because we added code to the path, we have the ability to run the code executable, and that will launch VS Code, and you can pass it a directory for where you want it to actually open up. So this will, again, open code in that same directory, but this time it was actually from the terminal. And then, of course, you also have the ability to launch it from your start menu too, right here. What I like to do is actually right-click this and pin to taskbar, which will put it down here on Windows, and I can just open VS Code from right there. But with that being said, congratulations, you've successfully installed the Visual Studio Code IDE, and you're one step closer to building away. So thanks for watching.